OST 2023 happened last weekend, and it was a regional tournament in Ohio that drove talent from all over the Midwest to come and compete. Nationally recognized players like Apollo Kage, Dark Wizzy, and Geist were all in attendance, but when the chips fell and push came to shove, only one of them could take the crown. Let's get right into it. But before we begin, just a short reminder that I stream every single day right here on my YouTube channel. Today I will be playing Smash with viewers trying to prepare for my local, so come tune in and hang out at 2 PM CST. I'd love to see you there. Alright, let's get into it. Let's start off with our 7th place finishers, Deathspade and Winter Shorts. We've talked about Deathspade more than once on this channel, so let's start with Winter Shorts, shall we? Winter Shorts is an Ohio native, Yoshi main, and the 19th seed coming into the event, quite outplacing their seed with their 7th place finish. Winter Shorts started off the weekend well, making it through pools with a close win against Amaryllis to make it out of pools winner's side. Winter Shorts then got their first impressive upset of the tournament by defeating Deathspade 3-0 right out of pools. This win, with Deathspade as the 3rd seed and Winter Shorts as the 19th, heavily contributed towards Winter Shorts' total upset factor of 10 this past weekend. But Winter Shorts had only pulled off one upset so far. But the question became if they could do it again, because next they had to go up against Doorstop in winners quarterfinals. Unfortunately, Winter Shorts lost to Doorstop and dropped down into losers, where they had to defeat Ice Knight in order to make top 8. They pulled it out in a Game 5 clutch win, moving on into top 8, where they then had an incredibly early meeting with Apollo Kage, who, guess what, will be serving as our losers bracket demon, because there is always one of them. The two went up against one another in losers 8ths.
Smart stuff right here. Now, of course, I'm seeing Winter Shorts get a little bit more handsy, too. I've seen him lean into Nair a bit more, too. That first hit frame 7, so look at the box with Snake. That could come to your own detriment as well. Oh, my goodness, because as I was getting ready to say, Game & Watch might hit like a ton of bricks, but unfortunately enough, light as a feather.
In the end, Winter Shorts lost to Apollo Kage 3-0, being eliminated at 7th. Winter Shorts had a great run at Chaos 2023, making 2 incredible upsets in the form of Deathspade and Ice Knight, and outplacing their seed in the process. Now we get to our other 7th place finisher, Deathspade. Deathspade is a name I've covered before on this channel, quite a few times actually, and I just want to take a moment to reiterate that I would never have a bias in favor of anyone, even if they're from my region. Deathspade started off the weekend fine, getting through pools without dropping a single game, but then losing 3-0 to Winter Shorts like we were just talking about. Deathspade had been sent to losers incredibly early, and almost got eliminated there too, as Deathspade then had an extremely close call against Space Miner, but clutched it out in Game 5. After winning 3-1 against Dice, Deathspade only had to defeat one more person to make top 8 losers side, and that person was Dark Wizzy.
Do it again.
In the end, Deathspade defeated Dark Wizzy in yet another Game 5, nearly preventing the reverse 3-0. And no, I didn't know that Wizzy had a Yoshi either. Deathspade was now in top 8 through multiple Game 5s and despite the early upset loss. But they now had to go up against Scoops, a name you'll be sure to hear again.
A zone in the center of the stage, finding the fares, and there's down tilt and the up air, keeping it going. The jump is gone, but they're looking a huge call out once again as Scoop makes an amazing mark on this top 8, knocking out Deathspade in round 1 of losers in a 3-0 fashion. Absolutely dominant.
Unfortunately for Deathspade, he would lose to Scoops 3-0, being eliminated 7th. As the 3rd seed, this is an underperformance to be sure, but that's just the nature of things. And you know what? Even though he was upset immediately out of pools, he still made top 8, which may have been the best he could have asked for given the circumstances. Now we move on to our 5th place finishers, Raven King and Geist. Since we were just talking about people who play Bayonetta, let's talk about Geist first. Geist is a name that most of you have likely heard of before, and they entered the event as the 4th seed. Geist started off the weekend by getting through pools without dropping a game, much like Deathspade. Unlike Deathspade though, is that Geist kept that streak running in top 32, winning his first set against True Dingus 3-0, and impressively defeating Dark Wizzy in Game 5, which means that yes, Dark Wizzy lost to 2 Bayonetta players at COS 2023 for 9th. I would almost feel bad if I hadn't been rooting for Deathspade so hard. I mean, rooting for both players equally, yes. Geist then went up in winners semifinals, successfully making top 8 winners side. Geist's opponent was Wilds, a name most of you probably aren't familiar with, but trust me, you absolutely should be. In the end, Geist lost to Wilds in Game 5, dropping down to losers quarterfinals and headed up against Apollo Kage, a demon versus a witch, and a set that would go to Game 5.
It's basically going to be a 0 to death, and that's exactly what Geist is looking for. Going for the pick back up, 179% on him already. All right, Bullet Art clears the air, but the up tilt, once again, signature from Apollo Kage.
Unfortunately for Geist, Geist would lose Game 5 to AK, being eliminated at 5th. Now we move on to our other 5th place finisher, Raven King. A lot of you, just like with Geist, have likely heard of Raven King before, and Raven King actually had an eerily similar bracket path as Geist's. although a key difference being that Raven King came in as the 7th seed and outplaced it, while Geist was the 4th and underplaced it. Raven King started off the weekend by getting through pools without dropping a game, and once he was out of pools, Raven King immediately had an extremely close Game 5 set with Scoops, although Raven King won it, moving on and sending Scoops down to losers. Raven King then had another Game 5 set, winning 3-2 over Carl's 493 in winners quarters. Carl's 493, by the way, is a player who made 9th as the 47th seed, and they had an incredible run at COS 2023, and with Shulk for that matter. For Raven King, however, they moved on into winners top 8, where they went up against Doorstop in winners semifinals.
This stock taken here, then they can maybe try to lean into Arson to try to force us into another game, but I hope it's, like I mentioned before, not too little, too late. My goodness, gets the down smash, and that's going to close it out right there. Doorstop with the 3-0 finish.
In the end, Raven King lost to Doorstop 3-0, being sent down to losers quarterfinals. Who would Raven King have to fight down here? Yet again, it was Scoops, who Raven King had defeated 3-2 all the way back in his first set out of pools. This was the run back, and Scoops was determined to change fate. Unfortunately for Raven King, he lost the run back to Scoops 3-1, being eliminated at 5th. Now we move on to our 4th place finisher, someone we were just talking about, Scoops. Scoops came into the event as the 10th seed, and they made the 2nd best losers run of the tournament. I say 2nd best because, well, we'll get back to our losers demon later on. Scoops started off the weekend by sweeping pools without dropping a game. Out of pools though, like we've discussed before, Scoops lost to Raven King in a close Game 5 set, being knocked down into losers extremely early. And it could have been the end for Scoops right there, as they had an extremely close call in a Game 5 set against Hawk. Scoops won it in the end though, starting their losers run in earnest, starting with 2 3-0s against Soft as Silk and Sage in order to make top 8 losers side. Scoops then continued their excellent losers run, defeating Deathspade 3-0 and then winning the run back versus Raven King in a 3-1 victory, an amazing adaptation from Scoops' end. It was here that Scoops had to go up in loser semifinals against the other player on an insane losers run, Apollo Kage. the end, however, Scoops would lose to AK3O, being eliminated at 4th. Scoops went on an excellent run this weekend, outplacing their 10th seed and making an amazing losers run, culminating in a run-back victory against the person who put them in losers to begin with. Now we get to our 3rd place finisher, Doorstop. Doorstop is one of the best players in Ohio, where this regional was happening, and came into the event as the 6th seed, outplacing it with this 3rd place finish. Doorstop started off the weekend by sweeping their pool without dropping a game, as has been the pattern, before clutching out a close Game 5 win against Geist to start top 32. After this, Doorstop defeated Winter Shorts and Raven King, both in 3-0s like we discussed, in order to make it to winners finals against Wilds. It would go to a Game 5. In the end, Doorstop lost Game 5 to Wilds, being sent down to losers finals against Apollo Kage, a set that wouldn't be as close as the one with Wilds had been.
Trail a little bit out of control, but there's back here. We're in it, and hopefully we're in it to win it. We can push this to another game. Come here.
Oh my gosh! AK's insane.
Oh my goodness, Apollo Kage.
Unfortunately for them, Doorstop lost to AK3-1, being eliminated at 3rd. Now we get to our final 2 finishers, Wilds and Apollo Kage. Wilds is a name that some of you may not be familiar with, so let's start with them and rectify that, shall we? Wilds is probably the definition of a hidden boss out here in the Midwest, and is a Kazuya main. Wilds started off the weekend fine, getting through pools, only dropping 1 game to Spectre on the way to top 32. Since Apollo Kage didn't drop any games in his pool, spoilers, this means that Wilds and Winter Shorts are the only 2 of our top 8 finishers to drop any games in pools at this tournament. Wilds made it into top 32, having a close Game 5 call with Katakiri, before 3-0ing Sage, who we'll talk about in a sec actually. Wilds then had 2 Game 5 sets in a row, going Game 5 with Geist and Doorstop to make Grand Finals winner's side. Apollo Kage, on the other hand, started off the weekend by getting through pools. But immediately out of pools, much like Deathspade, AK was upset in a 3-0 loss to Sage, who plays Min Min.
That's going to do it. That's Megawatt. And Sage takes it. Number 12 on Ohio PR. Let me be very clear. Let me tell you how broken Ohio is. I'm sorry I'm yelling into the mic. Number 12-ish on Ohio PR just beat a top 20 player on Earth. Do not play Smash in Ohio.
If you follow AK on Twitter at all, you'd know that ever since that set, he's been down bad for practice in the Min Min matchup, and even played the character himself. Now in losers, AK started off with a 3-0 on Devin before he started his losers run proper. Amaryllis 3-1 and Carl's 493 3-0 in order to make top 8 losers side. Becoming the losers bracket demon of this video, AK tore through losers top 8, defeating Winter Shorts 3-0, Geist 3-2, Scoops 3-0, and Doorstop 3-1 in order to make it to Grand Finals, losers side. It was now time for our 2 players to face off in Grand Finals. Both had come a long way, and if AK wanted to win, he'd have to go longer still against the mountain that was Wilds and his Kazuya Mishima. end, Apollo Kage swept Wilds in Grands 3-0 and then defeated him handedly in the reset 3-1, becoming the champion of COS 2023. In a tournament with many ups and downs, top seeds getting upset and low seeds making insane runs, the unpredictability that comes with a tournament set in Ohio, sometimes the old saying does truly hold, that the more things change, the more they stay the same. Despite AK being upset early on in winners, AK made the losers run of the tournament and won the whole thing as the first seed, as well as winning doubles alongside Dark Wizzy at that very same tournament. And as much as things went differently than predicted for this tourney, the rock that was Apollo Kage stayed the same. Oh, also shout out to this commenter who got 49th as the 127th seed. Love to see a fan of the channel doing well. That's going to be it for today's video. Real quick, I want to give a huge thanks to my Patreon supporters, Seth Lasser and Fireskull333. I am eternally grateful for your support. This weekend, both Wave Dash 2023 and the Midwest Ultimate Invitational are happening, and I'll be covering both of them next Tuesday and Thursday. Until then, I've been Mr. Mice, and thank you all so much for watching.